What's up, gang? Want to talk about the training of Gout Gout, or Gout Gout, as his dad says his name is supposed to be. So, if you don't know, he's a recently turned 17-year-old, so young athlete who has this year run a couple windy 10.0s and just last week hit 9.99 with wind in the 100 meters, right? So, just a sensational athlete at a very young age. And anytime somebody develops successfully like that, you're interested in like how it happened, right? And we got some rare insights into that because he did a podcast with Noah Lyles where he broke down his weekly training split in the preseason from August to December, so leading up to his spring season where he's just been going crazy on the track, right? So it's rare insight into the training of an elite athlete. I'm going to play that clip, and I want you to notice the amount of training volume he talks about.
What did a regular training week look like for you?
Okay, so Monday we start off with speed. So Monday's block work. So we do either 10, 20, 30s or 20, 30s. We do 3 10s, 2 20s, and 2 30s. And that's a Monday. And then after that, we head to the gym. We got glute work. And at the time, I was doing isometric work. So a lot of holds for my ankles, my calves, stuff like that. So we're just doing gym work for glutes. And Tuesdays is our endurance days. So I was doing pyramids, which we call it. It's 120, 180s. And sometimes we go back up. So 120, 180, and 80, 100, 120. And that's our speed endurance day. Wednesdays, we have our tempo day. So we do, usually it's 10 by 100 tempos, going at roughly 60 to 70%, focusing on the form. And we usually do this on grass, so no shoes, and yeah, easy. Then Thursday we have another speed day, and it's a longer speed day, so we do 50s and 60s, and we obviously just focus on the start and getting to top speed. And Friday is recovery-based day, so we have pool recovery, which we do like easy pool runs. We hop out the pool every run and do like trail leg and a couple exercises for core. Then Saturday is more technical work, so we do wickets, and we roughly do 30 to 40 minute wickets. And then after that, we do like maybe 10, 20 meters of just focused block work. And then Sundays is my rest day. So that's basically what I was doing between August and December.
So notice that throughout the week, he did quite a bit of sprinting and running, okay? So 5 days per week, we're not counting the pool and drill day. 5 days per week of some type of running, right? He had the short sprint day out to 30 meters, then a speed endurance day, then a tempo day, which he kept easy, and then another speed day out to 50 or 60 meters, and then on Saturday, a technical day, right, with wickets. Okay, so throughout the week, he's doing a good amount of running and sprinting. And this is a thing that I've talked about a bunch. That is required, that volume is required for successful speed development over time. Okay? There are certainly some contexts in which you can get some speed development without having to sprint a whole lot. For example, when people hit puberty and they start growing and just developing muscles and just their whole body's developing, in that context, then maybe they don't have to sprint a whole lot in order to get faster. Okay, it's a great time to sprint a lot, though, to tap into the adaptations that your body's going through and sprint a lot and develop speed adaptations. It's a great time to do it. But certainly, you can point to some anecdotes where it's like, oh yeah, this kid barely even ran for like a couple months and he came back and he's faster, right? Well, it's because he grew 3 inches, he's like getting more muscular, more powerful, just better at everything. Okay. Another context would be if you're just not used to linear sprinting at all, and then you just start doing some of it, even if it's once per week. Well, yeah, it's a new skill, it's a new stimulus on your body, and so you can probably get better at it initially by just doing it once per week. Okay. Or another one that comes to mind is after a season of running a lot, whether it's a track season or maybe even another sport like soccer or football or something where you're running on the field a lot. In the months following that, maybe you do a low amount of sprint training and you can successfully develop speed in that period. Okay, so there are these contexts where you don't have to sprint a lot in order to get faster. But if you look at the big picture, like the long term, you look back across your year of training, you look back across your 5 years of training, I think that you need significant periods of sprinting and running a lot if you're going to successfully develop speed over time. Now, in the track world, I think people largely understand this, and that's why track athletes typically do use some running volume, right? But outside of track, so if you get into team sports, if you get into like the strength and conditioning community or like the performance coaching community, there's a lot of people in these sectors that they want speed development to come from just like short sprints once per week, or maybe short sprints twice per week, right? Like, okay, we have an acceleration day and then we have a day where we do fly tens and that's it. And it'll be like, 4 to 5 total sprints on both of those days. Again, certainly cases where that can work. Um, in a lot of cases, if you look at that over time, I really think it's going to let you down, right? I really think you need more volume. Now, I know there are anecdotes, okay, so you don't have to blast me in the comments about, oh, our box squat program did this or whatever. I know that there are anecdotes where people didn't have to sprint that much, right? Um, Over time, reaching a high level, I think it requires some volume. Now, this is certainly more true for max velocity than it is for acceleration, right? And there's certainly a discussion to be had about the differences between training for those things. But even for team sport athletes who are just trying to be fast over a short distance, you got to realize, if you're going to be again, reach a high level, going to be a very fast team sport athlete, you got to be able to sprint over 9 meters per second, even if you're going to be fast just in 30 yards, even just in 20 yards. Okay. So even for those short distances, you're going to need a level of max velocity that the vast majority of team sport athletes do not have. All right. There's a lot of people in that 8 to 8.5 range, and your typical training program of just like playing your sport, maybe doing some type of jumps or plyometrics, and then strength training, and then like that low volume of sprinting. That typical training plan, a lot of people are not going to get past that 8 to 8.5 range using that. And I don't just mean they're not going to get there fast. I mean they're just like never going to get there, because you're sort of training evenly across the spectrum, and what you really need to do is like focus on speed. Okay? So I think there's a lot of athletes out there that would absolutely benefit, and it could be transformative for their speed on the field, if they utilized a period of training like a track athlete and using some of this sprinting volume to develop max velocity. I'm telling you, it bleeds down into the short sprints, your 20, even your 10. Like, it shows up there because you develop elasticity from that type of training. And that elasticity shows up even when you're just a couple steps into a sprint. That starts becoming an enhancing factor for your speed. All right, that's the message for today. I know I've said it before, and I'm going to say it 100 times again. I hope you enjoy this video.